our newest addition to the wide receiver room is fourth-year wide receiver Richie James out of Middle Tennessee, drafted by the 49ers in 2018, where they used him as a returner, playing him some snaps in the offense. You got a little elevated role in his second year there when Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel kind of like were out a little bit during the season. You got some more play on the offense. But James did not play in 2021. He was waived by the 49ers, and then he ended up undergoing knee surgery at the end of the season. James returned in 2022, signing a one-year deal with the Giants, where he had career highs, catching 57 balls, had 569 yards, receiving, and 4 touchdowns. And he was also their main punt return with Tony not really playing. He became their main guy at the punt return. And also you have 2 guys who played with the Giants together now, Tony and Richie James, playing with each other in the Kansas City now. So, JD, we've talked about receiver, and we're going to get into another receiver later on the show that we'd like to talk about. But with Hardman gone, with Juju gone, with Justin Watson gone, James becomes the first guy to kind of replace a room that's been pretty vacant so far this offseason. And even with him, we still have 2 holes to fill, but there might be some other guys in that depth chart that you may think can fill those holes. But what do you make of this signing, and what do you make of the receiver room as a whole right now as we still work to kind of add pieces to that?
I tell you what. So this signing, when I seen it, I didn't really quite know who the guy was. I seen him with the Giants. The name kind of popped up. But the guy, man, look, he has a lot of wiggle to him. He can do a lot of different things with the ball in his hand. He's a lot better route runner than what I expected, to be honest with you. But if anything, and I've been saying this for the last year, 2 years, with this sign, it absolutely shows that the Chiefs has an offense that is a smaller guy offense. It is. This is a kind of gadget system that you don't have your prototypical wide receivers as your guy being the number one that you're gonna be throwing to, the deep balls and stuff like that. You have some. But they're looking for the smaller receivers that can get into windows, can get open, make guys miss in space. This guy, man, he brings everything to the table. He brings it all to the table, man. And I went back and I was just watching, some of his highlights. And so he's got a lot of ability. He's been getting better every year. And so the thing is, I think a guy like this is in his 5th year, right? This is his 5th year. But you bring it more to the table. Start to learn a little bit more about what it means to be in the NFL. And so sometimes when you have these stints in different places and different offenses, you get exposed to a little bit more. And so with his signing, and I know you said vacant, but maybe I would say maybe the word is not as experienced. Put it that way, okay? Because there was guys in the room, and we signed different guys. There's guys that are still kind of here from last year. Was on a roster. A lot of questions, obviously, with the guys that's in the room. But with him being a 5th-year guy, he's been to some teams where he's been able to show flashes of brilliance and greatness and athletic ability. But with that being said, now, what do I think about this group overall? Okay. I think this group is a very young group. I think this group is a very exciting group. I think they're a very athletic group. And I think this group has a lot of questions to them. Can this group go into the season and be productive? Absolutely. No doubt about it. I think we have enough guys in the room that have the ability with MBS, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, and now you got James coming in, right? And so when you talk about these guys, Justyn Ross, coming on the roster, what he's able to do. So you have guys, not to mention the support cast around them. When I'm saying support cast, we're talking about the running backs, and then we have the tight ends, right? And so we can't leave them out of the whole equation as far as taking balls away from the wide receiver room. And so we know Patrick is one of those guys. He's a quarterback that loves to pepper the ball around the entire field to a bevy of guys. And so to me, these guys can absolutely go into the season and get it done, right? And so this signing right here, kind of shows like they're leaning a little bit toward their way, right? With some guys that are young, guys that don't quite have that experience, but they giving confidence in saying these guys can do it. And so we know what we have on the roster. We signed John Ross is another guy that we signed, who's kind of like he's kind of a journeyman, different teams, has been around. He's got some things to prove. And so, this might be the time for him to be able to do it. The one guy, I can't even, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now.
No, Smith-Marsette.
Smith-Marsette. I tell you what, I've kind of watched some of his highlights. You look at highlights, obviously going to be the best plays and stuff like that. Hadn't really had a chance to actually go in and a deep dive into how this guy gets open, all these different things. But the plays that he made and what he was doing, he's got some ability. There's no doubt about it. So I think he's one of those guys that will give you 110% every chance that he gets. He's seemed like he's a guy to put his hard head on, and he's going to come to work every single day. And so you like guys like that in the room. You like guys like that in the room. And so you have that. You have those guys like that in the room who's here to prove things. People doubt him. But to me, I still think, okay, and this is me, right? I still believe that we still need another veteran presence, okay? What the veteran presence brings to that table, what they give you is experience. They bring, helping guys be in the right possessions, right? What you need to do as far as a receiver to get open, your entire, job, what you're supposed to do in that position, what you're supposed to give to a team. Now, obviously, you're going to get that from, Patrick's going to do a good job, especially out him throwing to these guys right now. But I always look for a veteran guy, man, a veteran voice to come in, man, and just kind of give a little bit of a leadership. So I think MVS is one of those guys. James is another guy that's going to be, has been played for a little while. But still need somebody, man, I think, it's going to kind of show him a little bit more of the ropes.
We actually texted right when that Richie James signing happened. And I asked, do you think this means we're done with the D-Hop, or are we out of D-Hop sweepstakes? I mean, there are two different types of receivers. And I forget about the money aspect, for example. And unless you were saying that you think we're out because the money aspect and signing another receiver like that kind of means we're out. But like, there are two totally different types of receivers. So it's like, because what do you think that means we are? That is an added reason to say, like, yeah, I think we might be out on this, is just signing him altogether.
And it's both, really, because what they went out and got, they got a guy that fit more into the offense, right? More what we've seen in the past few years of what they do. Okay, how many times we've been asking for the fade route, the jump ball. Okay, kind of like traditional things, bringing some big receivers here. They just hadn't really done it. Why? Because they like the guys that got the body type, or like Darius Toney, 6 foot, or under 6 foot. You got a whole bunch of those guys that are like little water bugs. Heck, every single player I watched on James was like reverses. Things what we do, right? Throw to the flat. Get open. Find a window. Same thing with, we know John Ross does that. It's slot guys. That's what they are. James plays bigger. Plays like one of my boys, man. Shout out to my boy, man, Bobby Washington, B. Wash, man. That's my dog. He's my roommate in college, and he reminds me a lot of him. He's a guy that was a 5'10" receiver, can make guys miss, but he played bigger than what he was. He just played bigger. Now I see that in James, man. He's like I said, he's learning to play a lot bigger than what he is. So when you see him and he gets up and he does a little might like that, and I'm like, look at this, show this muscle. There you go. Show all of it. Sure, go ahead. Be proud of it. But D-Hop, yeah, is definitely a different receiver. But it is because they've been getting more of those that prototypical Kansas City guys, smaller guys here in this offense, to maybe the prototypical guy who is 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", and can go up and do all these different things, right? But and then the money aspect. It's the money. I think it's the money. That OBJ is like, geez, okay. That really, because then all of a sudden you got to swallow some pride. Okay, with that. It's like, okay, you know what? I probably could have signed for somewhere around 12 to 14 to win a championship ring. But OBJ going over here and getting that much money?
Mm-hmm.
That might be a little tough. I don't know, man. But hey, anything is possible, right? That's what, that's what you did. I love that. That was from what's name, right?
One of our post game shows.
Okay, yeah. So, hey, man.
Yeah, I mean, and the timing of it all is really weird too. We signed Richie James, and I think the next day is when the OBJ signing happened. So it's obviously Veach and them got wind of what he was gonna sign for in Baltimore. So they were like, you know what, let's just go ahead and cover losses and just go get Richie James right now for a 1 year. I haven't seen the numbers on it. I know it's a 1 year deal, but maybe I'm assuming it's the 1 year, $3 million special.
for Richie James.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The beach special.
Look, man. Hey, look, the Joker only has it was 57 receptions. It was his best season. He had 23 before that, 6 and then 9. So that, I mean, I don't know how much he's going to ask for, right? He probably did that Joker a favor. And so
it was 1 year, 1 million.
Yeah. So
wait, no, never mind. That was what he signed for last year with the
Giants.
The Giants. Yeah, the details aren't out yet the details aren't out yet with what we offered him.
Yeah, so
1 year deal. That's all I know.
It's 1 year deal. So yeah, man, it's one of those prove what you can do. Yep. Okay. Hey, we had a great year last year. But we need to prove a little bit more.
No.
So
hi everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.